Welcome to Born to Win. I'm Brian Proctor, and each Monday I share a short message designed to help you start your week with focus, clarity, and intention. These episodes are built around timeless principles that, when understood and applied, can change the direction of your life. If these podcast episodes are meaningful to you, I would appreciate it if you'd rate, follow, and share them with someone who could benefit from these ideas. Thank you for helping me reach more people. Every episode, it's designed to remind you that success isn't something you chase, it's something you allow. You were born to win, and when you live in harmony with the laws of life, you begin to experience that truth in every area. So take a deep breath, open your mind, and let's get started. There is a moment in everyone's life when we wonder, perhaps in another job, in another city, in another relationship, life will finally become better and more fulfilling. Maybe even easier. Earl Nightingale addressed this in a powerful lesson he called Greener Pastures. And today, I want to revisit that idea through a modern lens, because this concept is more relevant now than ever. We are living in a time of constant comparison. Scroll through carefully curated content in social media, and it appears that everyone is thriving at levels that feel out of reach. We see people switching jobs and moving neighborhoods, always given the illusion of bigger and better. Suddenly you hear your mind whispering, maybe if I were there instead of here. There's no problem in wanting more. In fact, we should always be stretching for expansion and fuller expression. More is a great word when it is about becoming better and serving in a bigger way. But this is also true. The grass is not necessarily greener somewhere else. It is greener where it is watered. The problem becomes when we allow ourselves to believe we are not enough, and instead of going within and creating, we compare and diminish ourselves. Theodore Roosevelt has a quote that I think of often, especially when I'm scrolling social platforms, and that is this: comparison is the thief of joy. When we compare, we are building feelings of inferiority and sometimes envy, emotions that absolutely do not serve us in our own personal growth. Now, there are times in life when change is necessary and appropriate, and there are seasons when growth requires a move. I'm not suggesting that you stay stuck or in a soul-sucking place. What I'm suggesting is that before you make a substantial change, you understand the difference between growth and escape. Moving away without exploring moving forward can be a way of avoiding personal responsibility. And maybe it seems easier to avoid the discomfort of change. But here's the thing. Wherever you go, there you are. If the internal pattern does not change, the external environment eventually begins to look familiar again. The same frustrations appear. The same challenges surface. The same feelings return. Because environment matters, but identity, it matters more. So, what is this lesson really about? It's about awareness. It is about recognizing the resources and opportunities around you and cultivating them before giving up. My father used to say that success is not a matter of location. It is a structure. It follows a formula. It is about being successful in all that you do, in every role you play in life. It's not about motivation. It is your inner condition that travels with you. We think we need new soil, but often what we need is new thinking. We need to broaden our view and see our lives through a different lens than the one that currently tells us we're not enough. The problem with searching for a greener pasture before we honestly answer the question, did I do my best with the opportunities and resources I have? It's this. Planting the same seeds in a different field will grow the same crop. So the question becomes, did you do your best? What are you planting daily in your own mind? Which thoughts are you choosing to attach emotion to? Are you curious? Are you planting discipline? Are you planting gratitude? Or are you planting comparison and complaint? Because the seeds we plant in our subconscious mind with emotion each day, they are what determine our harvest. So what I want to explore here is using your curiosity and imagination to create a scenario in your mind where you are the starring role in your life, and you are filled with a deep knowing and satisfaction that you are creating more and better for yourself. Now, we all love the hopeful and promising feeling of something new. But if what we're talking about is scenery, then that feeling of excitement, well, it'll fade quickly if the cultivation of the self hasn't been developed. In Earl Nightingale's work, he made the point that the person who is constantly searching for greener pastures may eventually find themselves exhausted rather than fulfilled. Because no field becomes green by accident. It becomes green because someone tills it, plants it, waters it, and tends to it consistently. It happens because it has been cared for. Now, keep in mind, your career, it's a field. Your relationships are fields. Your finances are fields. Your health is a field. So the question you ask yourself is, where am I willing and able to cultivate? Not where is it easier? Again, I'm not saying a change of scenery isn't good and sometimes quite necessary. But first, make sure you're not standing on an uncultivated field of diamonds. When you begin cultivating who you are, something remarkable happens. You reclaim your power and uncover a path to building something beyond where you currently are. Opportunities feel new and suddenly options appear. This is important because when you accept that you have room to grow and you discipline yourself to do that work, the world begins to respond differently to you because you are different. Having the strength to stay long enough to grow is a commitment to mastering where you are and deepening your roots. It is about becoming excellent before moving on. If you're always moving on to avoid discomfort, you never develop depth and resilience. You never discover how capable you really are. Sometimes the growth you are looking for is hidden inside the very challenge you are considering leaving behind. And I want to share a short story that my father often used in his teachings. In his presidential campaign autobiography, Why Not the Best?, President Jimmy Carter reflected on a well-known interview with then-Captain Rickover. The young Jimmy Carter was near the end of a 2-hour interview with Rickover, which had come to serve as a rite of passage for anyone seeking entry into the Navy's nascent nuclear submarine program. When Rickover brought up Carter's standing at the U.S. Naval Academy, Carter proudly announced his ranking in the top 10% of his class. Rickover slowly turned and pointedly asked, "Did you do your best?" Carter hesitated, but he answered truthfully that he had not, to which the captain asked, "Why not?" Carter biographers and presidential scholars have described the interview encounter as a transformative event for Carter. They credit Rickover's probing question with prompting Carter to undergo a life-changing period of self-reflection that compelled Carter to make the maximum effort in every single thing he did for the rest of his life, always asking himself, "Did I do my best?" Now, doing your best doesn't mean you never fail. It means you gave it everything you had. So let me balance this properly. The message is not about remaining in unhealthy environments. It is about ensuring that growth precedes movement. Ask yourself, did I do my best? Or am I looking for a way out of the discomfort of trying harder? That's a powerful distinction. If you have maximized your contribution and developed your ability, if you have given your best, and you are ready for expansion beyond what currently is, then movement can be a natural evolution. But if you are moving to avoid growth, the same lesson will meet you in the next pasture. Life is patient. It will present the lesson again and again. So let's bring this into the framework that my father learned from Earl Nightingale. The law of compensation states that your income is in direct ratio to, number 1, the need for what you do. Number 2, your ability to do it. And number 3, the difficulty there is in replacing you. Notice something here? Nowhere does it say find a different field. It says increase your ability, become better, provide more value, go the extra mile, water the grass beneath your own feet. The person who does that becomes indispensable. And when you become indispensable, you do not need to search for greener pastures. You become the greener pasture. And never forget to use gratitude as your fertilizer. When you appreciate what you have, you begin to see potential in it. Gratitude will shift your focus from what is missing to what is possible. When you are grounded in gratitude, you're stable. And from that stability, you can build. Comparison, it's a dumb game, and it will always weaken your field. Gratitude strengthens it. Your path and timing are yours. This is your journey. Stay committed to your development, and the harvest will follow. Use your imagination to mentally build your vision of the best self. Cultivate the vision with action. This doesn't need to be huge action. It can be small, daily, aligned actions. So let's talk about your Born to Win practice for this week. For the next 7 days, ask yourself each morning, what can I do today to improve where I am? What skill can I sharpen? What value can I add? What attitude can I adjust? Widen your lens on your current field and fertilize it. And at the end of each day, reflect, did I cultivate growth today? Did I improve something? Did I strengthen my roots? Did I do my best? Notice what happens when your focus shifts from escape to expansion. Earl Nightingale's message remains timeless. The greener pastures we search for, well, they're often waiting within our own growth. When you cultivate your mind and strengthen your habits, you build your confidence and increase your value. Searching for better ground is not always the answer. When you step inside and develop where you are, when you do your best, you discover that the grass is always greener where you choose to grow. Thank you for joining me today on Born to Win. If this message resonated with you, please share it with someone who could use a reminder of their own inner greatness. It also helps me to reach more people if you rate and follow this podcast. You can also find me on Instagram, Facebook, and TikTok at Brian Proctor Official. And remember, success isn't about luck or timing. It's about alignment. You were designed for success, built for expansion, and born to win. I'll see you next Monday. Until then, think big, trust yourself, and keep growing.